Hi, I'm Michelle the Irritable Vegan, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to make perfect crisp and sticky tofu. This recipe is deliciously sweet and spicy and serves 4. It's vegan, low FODMAP, gluten-free and tastes amazing. If you're looking for more ways to tackle tofu, then check out my dedicated playlist, Tofu That Doesn't Suck, linked below. Now let's get into it. We'll start by preparing the veg. Because the broccoli stalks are higher in FODMAPs than the heads, I try to do my best to remove as much of the stalk as possible. This allows for a more generous serving size of broccoli heads. Broccoli contains fructose and the heads are considered a low FODMAP food in portions of 75 grams, whilst a portion of the stalks is only 45 grams, becoming moderate for fructose at a mere 50 grams. But the stalks don't need to go to waste. They can be diced up in smaller amounts for use in another recipe such as a soup or stew. If you wanted to be really particular, then once you've separated the main stalk, you can pick out the heads that have got the longest stalks and trim them right back. Separating the heads from the stalks is especially useful for broccolini or sprouting broccoli, as the heads and stalks contain different FODMAPs. The heads are fructose containing, whilst the stalks contain fructans. This can get a bit confusing when trying to calculate the overall FODMAP load of a recipe, so in the elimination phase of the diet, it might be best to stick to eating the heads and stalks separately or stick to regular broccoli. Pak or bok choy, depending on what you know it as, contains sorbitol and is low FODMAP in 75 gram servings. I just break the heads apart with my hands. For anyone that doesn't know, the green tops of spring onions or scallions are FODMAP free and a great way to add onion flavour to low FODMAP recipes. It may seem like a waste at first, but there's no need to throw away the bulbs. When buying spring onions, look for untrimmed ones that still have the roots intact. Cut off the green tops and place the bulbs in a glass of water on a windowsill. The green tips will regrow and can be harvested again. The regrowth is not as sturdy as the original onion tops, more similar to a large chive, but it still has the same flavour. I've had batches that gave me 3 or 4 new regrowths before they were spent. Keep them fresh by changing the water every few days. There's always a bit of a debate as to exactly how much of the green tops can be used. During the elimination phase, I stuck to the guidelines that the bulb was high FODMAP, so after cutting off the tops, I would check by squeezing them to see that I'd only used the hollow green stems. You can usually feel the difference between the hollow and full stems, but if not, you can see it clearly once you start cutting. If you cut from the tip towards the bulb, you'll easily see where you begin to cut into the layers of onion, and this is where I stop. Some stems have more usable hollow length than others, so to get the most from every onion, cut each stem down to its base. Some people choose to only use the very darkest green tips, which seems overly cautious and leads to more of the onion unnecessarily going to waste. Now on to the tofu. I'm using the Viana brand, which is already smoked and full of flavour. It's a dense, extra firm tofu with minimal water in the packaging. There's hardly any water to press out, and as less water equals less FODMAPs, it's a great brand to choose on the low FODMAP diet. I'll leave a link to a video below all about shopping for and preparing tofu. The texture of this brand is perfect for slicing. Because it's so dense, it holds up really well to being handled, which means it survives being dredged, swirled and turned in a frying pan and stirred through the sticky sauce without crumbling into bits. The downside is that there are less holes to absorb the marinade, but the fact that it's pre-smoked helps to give it more flavour. Slice 340 grams of tofu into bite-sized chunks. I got 4 slices, approximately 2.5 centimetres or 1 inch thick. I then cut each slice into fingers and diced it into 2.5 centimetre or 1 inch squares. The more surface area you expose, the more marinade and flavour you can get on every piece. This is especially important for the centre of the block, which isn't as well flavoured or marinated as the edges. I don't recommend going any smaller than this, or it might start breaking apart as you cook and marinade. To coat the tofu, to 2 tablespoons of corn flour, I add half a teaspoon of 5 spice, half a teaspoon of asafoetida and 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. Give that a good mix until the spices are fully incorporated into the corn flour, then tip it onto a plate big enough to hold the tofu. Add the tofu pieces to the seasoned corn flour and turn them over with your hands until each piece is fully coated. You can see here how the firmness of the tofu matters. I like to shake or tap off the excess flour and put the tofu on a clean plate. To make the sauce, add to a bowl 1 tablespoon of grated fresh ginger, 4 tablespoons of sweet chilli sauce, 4 tablespoons of tamari and 1 tablespoon of tomato puree or paste. Add an optional splash of maple syrup to taste. Add a good grind of black pepper, and once that's all mixed together, add 1 teaspoon of miso paste. To a non-stick pan, add 1 tablespoon of toasted sesame oil and swirl to coat the pan. Add the tofu into a single layer. Fry on medium heat for 8 to 10 minutes, turning frequently until the tofu is evenly browned on all sides. Add the sticky ginger marinade and fry on a high heat for 2 minutes. Stir continuously to coat every surface of the tofu. Whilst the tofu cooks, lightly steam the broccoli until cooked to your liking. I prefer mine with a bit of bite. Remove the tofu from the pan onto a plate and set aside whilst you sauté the pak choy. I added a splash of water to deglaze the pan, but the veggies release enough water without it. I recommend only adding water if the greens or excess marinade begins to stick. Sauté the pak choy for a few minutes until wilted. Then add the cooked broccoli and stir it around to pick up some of the excess marinade. Finally, sprinkle over the spring onion greens, give everything a mix up and you're ready to plate it up. I serve mine with some simple microwave basmati rice. Serving with rice or rice noodles is a great way to avoid adding extra FODMAPs. This recipe serves 4, so plate up 1/4 of the greens and tofu per serving. I added extra green onions and optional black sesame seeds. This tofu is full of sweet, smoky, umami flavours with a nice heat from the ginger and chilli. Visit the blog post linked in the description for the full printable pinnable recipe. Let me know if you'll be giving this one a try and how you liked it. Thanks so much for watching and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!